Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. I'm David Coyer. Along with me is head coach Steve Howard. Coach, welcome back to the Coaches Show. We gave you a week off with Al Rooney joining us last time. What did you think of his show?
It was a good one. I apologize for everybody listening, though, that I had to put up with Al for a week, but back. So.
Do you have any, just to kind of start things off, I know I debuted reminiscing with Rooney. Do you have any fun minor league stories that you want to kind of toss out here at the beginning of the episode?
Oh, man. I got a lot of them, but put me on the spot there. I don't want to probably just go and shoot from the dark here. It might not be one that he wants told or one that I should be telling. Yeah,
we'll save that one for next time.
Right,
and of course, Al Rooney, the master storyteller himself. But coming off of a very strong weekend against the Bismarck Bobcats, handing the Bobcats their first regulation loss. Of course, the Bruins wanted to be the team to hand them their first loss, but might not beating them in a shootout a week ago. Just wanting your kind of overall thoughts on getting the win on Friday and then taking it all the way to a shootout, getting 3 points against Bismarck this past weekend.
Yeah, there's some positives and some negatives in that. I don't think a lot of people knew their leading scorer was out. He was injured. One of their other veteran leaders, Kyle Dahl, everybody probably read that his father had passed away suddenly. So it's obviously a tragic accident thing that had happened, and we feel really bad for Kyle but at the same time, like, missing those two guys in their lineup, that was tough. We had to do the same thing when we went there. We were missing some guys, but that's hockey. That's week by week. So for us to get that first win on Friday, that was good. I think Rafalski was another one. He was suspended. He's an assistant captain, one of their better defensemen. I grew up watching his dad play in the Red Wings uniform, and so going into Saturday, Rafalski came back, so that shored up their D a little bit. It was a little tighter game. I didn't think that we played our best hockey that night. We had some guys that just didn't have their legs under them, and it's up to the coaches to find out which guys are not going and which guys are. And I think our staff and Robbie did a good job of mixing up the forwards there in the third period, and we got a couple of goals. We got one late in the second and one in the third that allowed us to get that point to get to OT and obviously a shootout, which you want that fourth point. Everybody does, but taking 3 of 4, I had somebody come up to me, a college coach, say something to me after and said, if somebody would ask you, you're going to take 3 or 4 points from a top team in your division or the first place team in your division, would you take it? And you certainly would all day long. Yeah. And we're happy about that. I just we got some things we need to shore up. I think the power play went 0 for 6, and some guys were just very casual and lackadaisical on it, and we weren't making the right adjustments and right reads, and so that's obviously a focus point of our practices this week is get back on it.
And before we kind of dive into that game on Saturday, I want to look at Friday. What we've kind of talked about in previous coaches' shows, both with you and Coach Rooney, is how the team was coming out flat on Fridays, it felt like. You look back to October 4th against Minot, a 5-1 loss, the 6-2 loss against Bismarck in Bismarck, the shutout against St. Cloud. Now you come out this Friday needing a little bit of a spark against Bismarck, coming out a 4-2 victory over the Bobcats. What major difference did you observe in that game on Friday compared to some of the flatter starts previously?
Yeah, well, we actually were down a goal in that game, right? Didn't they score the first one?
They did.
So it's a scenario that I didn't really like our start. At the TV timeout, we got to address a few of those issues and what we were doing wrong. And I thought we didn't get that timeout until right around the 7-minute mark. So I remember looking up and saying, you guys got 7 minutes, and we haven't been playing our best so far this game. And we picked it up. We started tilting the ice back in our favor and getting it down to their end, and we started generating some offense from it. So I don't necessarily think our start was that great on Friday, and that is something we've been talking about quite a bit. You got to start on time, and our preparation throughout the week was pretty good last week. Excuse me, but just looking forward and going ahead, like it's all about the way you're getting yourself ready for a game, and as a former player, and if you ask anybody that's ever played the game, like the mental side of it is just as important as the physical side. And I think our guys have to learn, and a lot of them are young. A lot of them are just getting used to playing, 7 o'clock start games, and what they need to do with their time during the day. Most are used to going to high school, and then, coming home and grabbing some food and then going and playing a hockey game at weird hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not junior hockey, and it's not like that at any level past this point. So guys develop routines. Some call hockey players really superstitious, but some take naps, some don't. A lot of guys are still feeling that out, but as I've been telling the guys, like you have to find what works for you, and you have to make sure that you're ready to go. And I've given them some pointers and some things that have worked for me, for other people. There's obviously some great authors out there. I always talk about Dr. Saul Miller. He was one that wrote quite a few books. He's actually been a sports psychologist for a lot of NHL teams, and we actually work with one that constantly text messages me and sends me different videos. Eric Hoffberg, he's out of Philadelphia, and he does a great job, and just coming up with different ways to spark a team or spark a player, a certain guy, to get the best out of them. It's what it's all about. And a lot of these guys, it's self-motivated. They have to do the right things. They have to eat the right things. And if their routine is the same from a game when they played really well, typically they can reinvent that feeling. And they try to go out there and play really, really well the next time. That's why you see a lot of guys eat the same thing, because it is a thing when having your stomach be in the right place versus heavy. You want to be a little hungry before you start the game, and in a lot of different ways, but more so in the hunger department. You want to be able to play and feel light, and not feel heavy from a greasy meal or something you ate earlier. So those are just part of it. I think our guys have to still figure that out, but I think we're getting better at it. And obviously Saturday, I think we had dropped off a little bit, just in a part of maybe they did a different routine this day, or maybe some of the things they did that worked the week before didn't work this time. And that's a trial and error process of being a young hockey player. You're trying to work all that stuff out, but at Friday we have to start on time. Aberdeen is a place that preaches, and I've obviously coached against Langer for 8 years now. They want to have hot starts. They always do. They talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time. They're gonna be buzzing right from the time that puck drops. And it's gonna take you 13 minutes like it did for us on Friday to get our feet underneath us. It's not gonna be good. We got to start playing and trying to win that first 5 minutes.
And before we, again, get to kind of the offensive side of things and getting that spark, taking a look quickly at the defensive side of things. Bismarck, one of the better scoring teams in not only the Central Division, the North American Hockey League, came in averaging just about 3.5 goals per game. Your team held them to 4 across the weekend, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. And in fact, on a 5-game point streak currently, Saturday's shootout loss ending a 4-game winning streak, which was tied for the longest this season. Just 1.6 goals per game in the last 5 games. What have you observed about your defense that, again, has sort of changed? It was a rough October, allowing some high-scoring affairs both against Bismarck, Minot. What have you observed from your defense that's been working well?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody that knows myself, or even Al Rooney, like we're pretty defensive minded. I think everything starts from good goaltending and having good defenders, and obviously some forwards that buy into your defensive zone. That's just kind of been our teams here since I got here. We don't play a run and gun game. We're very structured in how we play, and looking back, even the 2 games previous to those last 5, I think we were playing with St. Cloud. That was a 2-0 game. We didn't score. They got 2 on us. And then, going even the week before, were we in Bismarck then? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that one was even a low-scoring game. I think we lost 3-2, with or maybe it was 2-1.
2-1.
2-1 with that late goal with a minute left. So, yeah, that's kind of what it's all based on. Like, defense wins championships. Everybody hears that cliche speech and talk all the time, but it's a true statement where, if you can't defend well, it's tough to win some of those tight games, and sometimes you got to be able to clamp down. And yeah, everybody wants to win games, by 4 or 5 goals. It just, it's not realistic at our level. If you do win by that many, it's because maybe the other team had an off night and a few bounces went your way. Perfect example being when we went to Watertown, we won 5-0, but our goalie played really, really well that game, and we had a few bounces go in that probably shouldn't have, and hey, here we are. So it is the Central Division. It's most of the league every night, and going in to face a coach like Scott Langer and a team like Aberdeen Wings, I don't think it's going to be any different than Garrett Roth coached Bismarck Bobcat team. Like, there's some really good coaches in our division, and you just got to be prepared for a chess match almost every night.
Heading into last weekend, actually 5 of the top 10 teams in the North American Hockey League in terms of goals against were from the Central Division. So a very tough division to score in, and Bruins have just kind of been in a few high-scoring affairs at some points. And, of course, you look back to the beginning of the season, 2 of those high-scoring affairs were at the Showcase. So, again, once we've gotten to the Central Division play, little more low-scoring games. And continuing on that kind of defensive standpoint, recently adding Ashton Bynum after that Bismarck series, and clearly the defense has started to look better. I talked with Al Rooney about how early on in the season struggling with a little bit of that veteran presence on defense, having Nathan Williams really be the main veteran after trading away Eli Brown. Ludwig Melgren, of course, has that veteran presence as well, but adding Bynum on there, now you have 3 solid defensemen who have experience. And this weekend, we saw Bynum and Nathan Williams both score their first goals of the season. Bynum in his 100th career game as a Bruin. Talk about their impact, even Ludwig Melgren's impact as kind of the veteran defenseman in that core.
Yeah, I mean, we alluded to it earlier. We were in Bismarck, and we were missing a few guys, and that was it. We only had Willie in as far as veterans on D, and we had 6 rookies with Willie. And we're playing in those games, and both nights we were tied going into the third period, and penalties hurt us the first night. They scored some power play goals, and then on the second night we killed off some penalties, including a 5-minute major. But we had a young rookie defenseman kind of miss an assignment, and they were going in on a breakaway, and that was kind of how the cookie crumbled on that Saturday night, and that's why we lost 2-1. Once we got both Melgren and Bynum to come back the next week, you could totally see a change in everybody. When you got a veteran guy on the ice every single shift, which is kind of how we've been running it, just to make sure we got a vet and a rookie out there at the same time. Obviously, late in the game, we can put a couple of vets together and try to trim the I guess the D core down to, rather than having 7, down to 4 or 5. In those last few minutes, just guys that are playing well and shortening the bench a bit. You can totally see that, having that presence, that veteran presence, especially with a player that not only knows how to defend, but he also led our D in scoring last year. He's a kid that getting back, him and Willie both started out in Fargo this year. To have both of them back is huge. They can play a little bit of all situations. And when I say that, like they can easily be on the power play, the penalty kill, 5-on-5, whatever. They're all situations guys, and that they can log 25 minutes a night for us, and that's huge going forward because You just got guys that know the system. They know how we play. They can obviously help you. They're an extension of the coaching staff, so they're going to help you coach on the ice and kind of talk about what we're running, what we're doing, what type of play we need to be going forward with here with the last 10 minutes in a tie game. And having that piece of the puzzle come back to us is big. It's something that I think we needed, and obviously we love Eli Brown. He was a great player. Really happy he's getting more of a chance out in Elmira. He's playing more out there, and at the end of the day, that was kind of the way we had to look at things. Do we want to keep a 20-year-old around, or give him more opportunity to find a college scholarship by going out there and playing more minutes in Elmira with a new team, whereas we can develop some of the young guys we have here, because we love Cole Ward and how he's developed so far. Obviously, Lund is coming around. He's playing well. And then we got a good group of really young guys. And when I say really young, Stelgis being an 06. I think Langer's an 06. And then obviously having Albert there, he's an 07. And then we got Hewer just coming off he's been injured for a while. He's coming back. He's another 07. We got some young guys back there that can all play. They're just very raw. And, we put in this month and a half, 2 months into training them and teaching them how to play our style and our way. We want to see this through, and some of these guys may be Ashton Bynum in 2 years, and that's what you want. You want guys to trust the process, play for you for 3 years, and then they get their deal to go play Division I at Brown or wherever it is. And we certainly see that in the Wards and the Lunds, and obviously the Alberts, the Hewers, Stelgis, and forgetting one, but Lang, yeah. Even Distad's already got his deal. He's going back to high school next week, but he's been a joy to have here for the before part. We're excited to get him back here after. We just like our decor. We like them a lot, and they come around, and this is the time when you should start seeing the positivity coming off of what you've been developing here for the last couple of months.
And we mentioned Ashton Bynum getting his first goal back since rejoining the Bruins. He got his first point on the game-tying goal for E.J. Paddington last Friday against Watertown. Nathan Williams has been an assist machine on defense this year, finally getting his first goal late in that third period to tie things up, an electric goal there at the end. And on top of that, you saw Friday night Connor Beckwith getting a goal, his second in 3 games, had the overtime winning goal against Watertown last week. Luke Mulcazian getting a goal, and with Connor Beckwith, his goal against Watertown, that was his first point since October 6th against Minnesota. Luke Mulcazian, his goal this past weekend was his first since the same night. How does it feel to finally see some of these guys who maybe haven't been producing as much and not having to rely on, we talk about that all-Canadian line all the time, but seeing some other guys finally start getting points and start contributing to scoring? I mean, even against Watertown, Cole Ward, Andrew Lang got their first career points on assists. Xander Lipset finally got his first goal of the year. Even Tyler Shaver this past weekend got his second assist of the year, first since that Minnesota Mallards game as well.
Yeah, no, you got to have depth scoring. If you're not scoring by committee, it's tough to win a championship. It really is. You got to have some lines that can all produce for you. And once again, we're a young team. A lot of guys are new to our structure. So it's you got some chemistry with some, and we're still trying to figure that out. I think most teams are. Playing a team like Bismarck, who had a lot of guys back, and they added some scoring. They're a good hockey club, and they're going to be good all year. We're still trying to figure some of that out, and the quicker we get some of these guys to find some chemistry with some others, the better off we're going to be. Because going on the road, it's no secret. We're going into Aberdeen. Scott Langer, the head coach there, he's been there a while. He's winning his coach in the NAHL. And he likes the line match, and he's gonna make sure he's got some guys that are gonna shut down that Canadian line, and it's gonna leave the door open, hopefully, for some other guys to try to step up, and we're gonna expect them to. Otherwise it's gonna be a rough weekend, and Saturday night was no different. not sure what it was, but our top line wasn't playing very well. And, when those Canadian guys weren't playing very well, we had to mix some lines up, and we actually ended up splitting them up, and we got some more offense off of it. It didn't always include them. I don't even know if they got any points on Saturday, but, Saturday we got some contributions from some guys that were probably unlikely heroes. But, in our eyes, we look forward to those guys scoring more going forward. I think Bynes is obviously a guy that's going to put up points for us, but those were big goals. Obviously him sneaking down there and getting that shot off, that was great. And then Beckwith set him up with that, and now going into, we were just about ready to pull the goalie and going into the third period, and then we win a face-off, and we get Willie up top, and kind of throws a shot on net with a good screen, and there we are, we're tied up. That's what it's got to be. In order to give yourself a chance, you got to have good. You got to defend well. You got to have good goaltending, and we did that night. And we were fortunate to get that point. I wish we could have got the fourth one though.
And we've talked about a lot on this show right now. There are going to be low-scoring games in the Central Division. It's a tough division to score in, and we've seen a lot of these low-scoring games. Bruins undefeated when scoring 3 or more goals this season. Only one win when scoring 2 or less, and that was the overtime victory against the New Mexico Ice Wolves. Hearing something like that, do you still see it as, all right, we're going to fight in the trenches in some of these low-scoring games, or is it a little bit more motivation on, okay, maybe we do need to start going 3-4 goal games to try and get these wins?
Yes and no. Like the 3 and 4 goal games, if you look at them and compared to the games where we were low-scoring, a lot of it was just our power play didn't perform very well that night. And looking at that, we need to make sure that we can make in-game adjustments and not just be a one-trick pony. That's probably the biggest thing, and any coach is going to tell you that. If you get repetitious and you just go out there and do the same things over and over again, and especially when you're not executing them at a fast pace and you're very casual about it, it's very easy to defend, and then you're hoping for a luck shot or a chance or a broken play to score. And unfortunately for us, they got a power play goal, and we didn't. And we had 6 opportunities to their 3, and that was a difference. If our kill shuts that one down, we end up winning 2-1. If we get a power play goal, we end up winning 3-2. It's you can look at it any way you want, but at the end of the day, it's hockey, and I look at the power play as being a high pressure situation, no matter if it's the first period and you're up by 2 already, or if it's the third period you're down by 1. It's a high pressure situation. You got to get up for it, and you got to be ready to go, because every team's going to put out their hardest working guys to be on the penalty kill. And some of those guys are both on the power play and the penalty kill, and it's funny to watch some of their demeanors or how their mannerisms are when they're on a kill versus when they're on a power play. And once they start working harder on one than the other, and typically it's the PK over the power play, that's when you need to switch up the power play a bit, because it's getting a little stagnant.
And you just kind of mentioned there about struggling on the power play. 2 for 16 across the last 5 games, including going 0 for this past weekend and against Watertown. What have you been working on this week in practice to try and shake things up heading into Aberdeen?
Oh, the whole thing. I mean, it starts from the face-off. It's zone entries. It's the way we're moving pucks, the way we're shooting pucks, recovering pucks. It's all of that. It's not one little thing that we need to work on. It just needs to be restructured. And sometimes it needs a little shake-up, and it's no different than anything we've ever done here in years previous. You can start out like gangbusters with the power play, but if you keep trying to do the same things and the same things over and over again and keep going back to the well, other teams are going to figure it out. And so, we're at that point. We're 15 games in, and now some differences or some different things and different looks need to start happening.
And kind of heading into the final phase of this coach's show, looking ahead to Aberdeen, I kind of mentioned to you before the show There are 3 Central Division goaltenders who are in the top 5 in the league in goals against average. Lucas Svedin from Minot, Thomas Anderson from Bismarck. They're 1 and 2, and the Bruins have faced both of them. Damon Cunningham is the netminder for the Aberdeen Wings, constantly in the Central Division, 3 stars of the week, whether that's first star, second, third. He's kind of been a name that's been on there a lot. 5th in the league in goals against average. Just kind of knowing that, what's the game plan heading into Aberdeen this weekend?
Well, it's the same as it's always been. Like they defend very well. They're just like us. We match up very well. It's about execution. Their goalies have always been good. Langer does a good job of finding goalies. He's got good goalie coaches over there, and they're going to try to limit shots to under 30 just like we do. And then it becomes a goalie battle, and it's going to become the grade A's that you do get, do you take advantage of them? And, at the end of the day, that's always been kind of the case whenever Aberdeen's playing Austin. It's whoever wins those battles of the grade area chances and scores more than the other, or it's special teams opportunities. They typically walk away with the 2 points. So I don't expect it to be any different. He's a good goalie. I'd like to think we got 2 pretty good goalies ourselves. And, we got to give them a chance to win, just like their team's going to try to give their goalie a chance to win. And, when we do get those chances, we need to take advantage of them. See red.
Bruins travel to Aberdeen on Friday and Saturday. 7:15 puck drop both nights. You can listen in on NATV. I'll be on the call for both of those. Bruins are back in action at Riverside next weekend against the Minnesota Mallards on the 15th and 16th for Military Appreciation Weekend. All active duty military members and veterans get a free ticket by showing their ID at the door. Otherwise, everyone else, you can get your tickets as always at tickets.austinbruins.com. But this weekend, the Bruins against the Wings on the road. This has been another edition of the Coaches Show for for head coach Steve Howard. Thanks for joining us again. I've been David Coyer. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Thursday, every other Thursday, right here on the Austin Bruins YouTube channel. Coach, thanks for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.